My name is Gianna, and today I have the honor to speak with the enlightened master OshoDhara about Maya, the world of illusion, reality, and the importance of a guru on the spiritual journey. Beloved master, what is the purpose of life?
Actually, the whole creation is full of celebration. So the purpose of life is to be a part of this great grand celebration going on. Unless we know the reality, the truth, the essence of this great creation and the hidden hands of the Creator, well, we cannot take part in this great celebration. So the purpose of life is, okay, what is this great game and who is behind it? What is the source of life? To be one with the source of life and to take part in this great celebration, which is really coming out of love of the Creator, out of the love of this universal presence. That's the purpose of life.
Can you explain about the self and how someone can get in touch with it?
Actually, if you want to understand self, I shall like to use the word Sammasati, given by Lord Buddha. What is Sammasati? He describes that there are 3 layers of consciousness. The first layer is personality, the ego, the mind. So first we must know what is the nature of ego, what is the nature of our ghost or the false self. The second layer is individuality, the formless inner space, which we can know through meditation. And the third and the final layer is that our individuality is part of the divinity. So the third layer is divinity. And we can realize all the 3, we can experience all the 3. And once we know all the 3 layers of our consciousness, that is, first is false self, the second is inner self, and third is divine self. Only then we have known our true self in all its dimensions.
Why did we lose the contact with this inner presence? What has happened?
Actually, we have been conditioned to know ourselves only as personality. And this false identity with the personality or the ego or the body or the mind, that's the source of all the misery, all the trouble. So only through meditation we can reach to our inner presence or the inner self, then the divine self. And unless we remove our false identities, unless we know our true identity as subjective consciousness or subjective presence, we cannot be free from the miseries which we are being subjected to.
If we are not in tune with ourselves, what are the consequences in life?
Well, if we don't identify ourselves as the true self or the inner presence, the consequences will be misery, the consequence will be irritation, and unless we know our true self, we shall be swept away by our desires, by anger, by jealousy, by greed, and so many other factors. And naturally the consequence is that our life will be full of misery instead of bliss and celebration and love.
What is Maya, the illusionary world?
Okay, illusion is what appears is not true. That is known as illusion. For example, the sages are saying, all the sages of all the times are saying that this whole world is illusion. The reason is that the world as it appears is real. In reality, it's not the same. Because we feel that the form is the real world, but the form is not the real world. The formless space is the real world. The real doer is the formless space, the conscious space, which we hardly know it. That's why this world changing with time is not the essence. The essence is this formless space which is full of consciousness, which is full of bliss, which is full of love, which is the real doer, which is the hidden force behind all what is going on around us.
What is the difference between reality and fiction, and why is this illusionary world created?
Actually, the fact and the fiction and the truth, these are the three aspects of our knowledge or our experiencing. Fact is something what it is, but when we interpret it, our interpretation may be negative, may be positive. Someone may say that this world is full of misery, it gives only misery, it cannot give bliss. Now this is our interpretation, and this interpretation is negative interpretation, because in this very world Lord Krishna comes and he dances, Meera comes and she dances, Lao Tse comes and he dances. So this world is not miserable for everyone, this is our interpretation. But when you interpret it positively, that this world is full of love, is full of bliss, is full of the celebrations, and we really start enjoying in this very world, as Lord Krishna, Lord Buddha, Lord Mahavira, Lao Tzu, they have enjoyed, then naturally this very world becomes a world of truth. And whatever happens in our life, how we are interpreting the events, that matters to us. Each event comes to teach something to us, and we can learn lessons from each event, and whatever lesson we learn, that is the truth. And by going on learning lessons after lessons, one day we know the absolute truth, the absolute presence, and there we are fully realized. So to understand the fact and the fiction, we must also understand what is the truth and the absolute truth. So again I will repeat, the fact is something which exists without any interpretation. The fiction is our negative interpretation of what appears, what is present, or whatever event has taken place in our life, and the truth is that what we have learned, what lessons we have drawn, and absolute truth is beyond time, absolute truth is beyond the limited thinkings. The absolute truth is true for all the ages, whereas truth is relevant only to a particular time, a particular epoch.
What does it mean to awake? Is that a personal choice, an active doing, or something that just happens?
Awakening happens in three stages. The first stage of awakening is we must know what is the nature of our ego, what is the nature of our mind. This is the first awakening. The second awakening is at the level of inner space, the formless inner space, where we know our individuality, that we are not personality. In fact, we are individuality. We are not the form, we are the formless space. And the third level of awakening is that this formless space is not devoid of godliness, not devoid of divinity. There are divine presence in this formless space, such as there is divine sound vibrating in it, there is divine light illuminating the inner space, there is consciousness which knows this divine light and divine sound. So at the third stage we are aware about our divine presence, and that is the final awakening.
If someone awakes, what changes in that person's life, emotions, and view of reality?
If someone is awake, naturally he identifies himself as the true self, as the inner self, as the divine self. And once someone knows that he is not the personality, he is not only the individuality, he is the divinity, then at the circumference, all the desires, the anger, the greed, the attachment, the jealousy, the hostility, they disappear. The person never gets irritated. The person never wavers. Always you will find him stable in all the conditions, and all the dualities, they simply don't matter to such an awake person, because in essence he knows that in essence, I am soul. I am formless divine space, and no incident of the outer world is substantially going to affect me. So such person, in fact, is known as Sakshi or Sthit Pragya or Kutas. There are so many words to indicate it is a non-wavering consciousness that what he lives in all the time.
A lot of people say you are your own guru. Is that true? And what can be a misunderstanding or a danger about this belief?
Right, it's very true that everyone has potential to become his own guru. But we must understand at what stage one can become his own guru. The purpose of the outer master is to explore the inner guru in every person. So unless one explores his inner guru, and what is the inner guru? The inner guru is the divinity present within us, and once you identify yourself as your soul, as your subjective consciousness, it means now you are connected with your inner guru. Now you can depend upon your inner guru, your inner master. But unless you know your inner guru, the inner soul or the inner presence, till then you have to take the help of the outer master. And the very purpose of the outer master is that he takes you, he introduces you with your inner guru. So without knowing your inner guru, if you feel that there is no need of the outer master, I can be my own guru, then you are simply mistaken. And you will definitely not attain the bliss, not attain the love, not attain the stability, not attain the unwavering consciousness. You cannot be a part of this great celebration unless you meet the guru, meet some living master who is capable of introducing you with your inner master.
How important is a master, a life, or a mystery school for the spiritual growth of a seeker?
As I told, the spiritual master is always in need of a spiritual seeker, because a spiritual seeker doesn't know what is to be known, how he can be a part of celebration, how he can live in love, how can he live in eternal bliss. So unless someone tells us what is the path to know the divinity, what is the path to travel on this map of divinity, naturally, without the help of the master, we cannot reach our inner core, we cannot reach our inner divinity. And whatever, in fact, even in the world, if you want to go to some place, so naturally you have to ask someone how to reach the destination. So similarly, unless we take the help of someone who really knows, someone who has traveled on the path of divinity, on the path of godliness, well, we can be lost in this great path, and it is really a must to take the help of the living master if we really want to reach our true destination, or really we want to travel in the true direction towards godliness.
Does a master come to you, or do you go to a master?
Actually, it's two way around. For example, the sun can rise and its rays can knock your door, but the rays cannot make you to open the door and come out of your house. Similarly, the master knocks the door of the seeker through so many ways, through discourses, through meeting the seekers, going at the place of the seeker, or through the disciples also he can knock the door of the seeker. But then seeker has also to come out once he is getting invitation of the master. So naturally he has also to open his windows, to open his doors, and then reach the master. So master is just like a sun. Sun can knock the door through rays, and the master can knock the door through disciples. But the seeker cannot just always sit in the house and say that when the master comes in my house, only then I will come out. I think then there he is mistaken. Right?
What is enlightenment?
Enlightenment is knowing our true self. Because mostly we know ourselves as body, or the senses, or the mind. But our real self is our soul, the subjective space, the formless space, subjective consciousness. And once we know ourselves as subjective consciousness, as soul, this is known as self-realization. And this is the first enlightenment. But the enlightenment doesn't end here. The second enlightenment is that I am soul, I am formless conscious space, but I am not an individual. I am part of the whole. This is known as Advait Gyan. When we feel ourselves part of a whole. Then the third enlightenment is that this whole is my extension. This is known as Kaivalya Gyan. This is third enlightenment, that I am not separate from the existence. This whole existence is my extension. And then the fourth enlightenment is there is nothing like I and you. In fact, there is only one universal, all-pervading, blissful existence. And then at this stage, it is known as Nirvana, Nirvana Gyan. This is fourth enlightenment. And the fifth enlightenment is that this whole existence is celebrative existence, and this is omnipresent existence. It exists in form and it exists also in space. Every fiber of this existence is full of godliness, a loving godliness, a celebrative godliness. Then this stage is known as Parampad, the fifth and final enlightenment, you can say.
You once said that the journey starts with enlightenment. Can you explain what you mean by this?
Real journey really starts with enlightenment, because unless you know yourself as soul or the subjective consciousness, then the real journey towards the source doesn't start. Once you know that I am fiber, only then you are in a position to know whole sheet. Once you know that I am the drop, only then you can start to know that I am the ocean. Once you know that I am leaf of this tree, only then you can know what the tree is. Once you know that I am a small farm of this earth, only then you can know what the real earth is. But unless you know yourself as drop, you cannot start your journey towards knowing the whole sea. So similarly, unless you know yourself as a soul, you cannot know the whole existence, or you cannot start the journey towards knowing the whole existence. So it is really true that the real game starts, the game of spirituality, the game of seeking, only after once you know yourself as soul, not the body, not the mind, not the senses.
As the soul is immortal and that there is no real destination to reach, then what is this spiritual search about?
Right. Actually, soul is immortal. And in spirituality, as I told you, that you have to go towards the divinity. But the divinity is infinite. The divinity cannot be measured. This whole space in which all the planets and stars, everything is included, how long it is extending, no one knows. No one will ever know. Only thing you can do is that you can know more and more and more and more. And this you can know only in traveling towards the source. So in spiritual seeking, there is direction, and the master will decide the direction, that the direction is towards godliness. But actually there is no destination, because in existence itself there is no destination. There is no end of existence. So how you can fix the destination? There is no goal. There is always a direction. Go on towards existence, know more and more, be loving more and more, be blissful more and more, be celebrative more and more, but this more and more will never end. More and more blissfulness, more and more love, more and more celebration. But what is the destination of love? What is the destination of bliss? What is the destination of celebration? Of course, you can travel in a particular direction to be more blissful, to be more loving, to be more celebrative, but there won't be any end of it. There won't be any goal of it. There won't be any destination of it.
Can you tell the audience about OshoDhara, the program, the way, the direction and the goal?
Yes, OshoDhara has designed 28 levels of spiritual program for traveling on this great path of spirituality. The first program is Dhyan Samadhi, in which we know our personality, we know our individuality, and we know the divinity in form of divine sound. But divinity has many dimensions, such as there is divine light, there is divine consciousness, divine fragrance, divine taste, divine wellness, divine drunkenness, divine bliss, divine love, and so many dimensions are there. And through these 28 levels of programs, we know all these dimensions of godliness, and we also know how to fall in love with divinity, how to be blissful all the time. And at the 28th level also, we don't say that the journey has ended now. That is why the name of the 28th program is Charayaveti. Go on moving, go on moving, go on moving, because there is no destination, because there is no goal. A spiritual seeker has to remain always a traveler. He can never say that he has arrived at the final destination.
How important is it to enjoy life, everything you do, to sing, dance, love, and is that part of the philosophy of OshoDhara?
Yeah, once you know yourself as a soul, you know yourself as subjective consciousness, a blissful consciousness, a loving consciousness, and you know that this existence is celebrative. Celebrative means it is showering its love on everything, on every tree, on every bird, on every stone. Then it's very easy to be a part of this great celebration. And as I told you, the purpose of life is being in celebration all the time, to take part in this great dance of godliness. So once you know yourself as blissful inner presence, then it becomes really easy to be a part of this great celebration, which is actually the purpose of life.
Thank you so much, beloved Master, for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.